Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to the bakery. Today, we've got our first collaboration released, but actually, like our third one that I've participated in. It's a long story. I'll explain later in the video if I remember to. So let's just get into it. A while ago, I made a poll that kind of gave away what this challenge was, but I don't think too many of you saw that, so hopefully that means this will still be a surprise reveal to some of you. This video is a collaboration with my friend Kyro, and his end of the collaboration is playing Devil May Cry as Leon Kennedy. I'm sure that that's going to be a sufficiently entertaining video in its own right, but having that information, can you guess what this one's gonna be? Or, you know, if you saw the thumbnail and title. That's right, we're gonna be beating Resident Evil 4 as lore-accurate Dante from Devil May Cry. If you've never played DMC, go play it, it's awesome. But Dante is kind of busted as a character, so I did have a little bit of trouble coming up with our rules for the challenge. But ultimately, I decided on some rules that I think are pretty solid. First up, we can use the Blacktail and the Silver Ghost as Ebony and Ivory, Dante's iconic handguns. Unfortunately, after scouring all of the internet for almost a full 10 minutes, I couldn't find a dual-wield mod, so I decided we're just gonna switch off what handgun we use every chapter. In addition to this, uniquely enough, we actually get to use the infinite ammo cheats for both of these weapons, because Dante has no need for ammunition restrictions. I know this makes it easier, but ultimately I feel like it's more important to emulate the character as closely as possible, as opposed to prioritize the difficulty of the challenge. Other than that though, as far as weapons go, we're allowed to use the knives to emulate Dante's multiple swords. The challenge is pretty straightforward. Aside from that, health and weapon upgrades and buffs are allowed, grenades including flashbangs are not, and we're playing on hardcore. Let's get into it. As we get started, I actually have something awful to tell you guys. I don't have the cat ears. Now you guys might be thinking after I say that, well, who cares? Why would you need cat ears? Well, Resident Evil 4 doesn't have separate infinite ammo cheats like the other Resident Evil games do. No, in this game you need to wear the cat ears to have infinite ammo on all weapons. Have you figured out what me not having cat ears means yet? Here, for those of you who are visual processors. So I guess we're not doing this with infinite ammo because I'm stupid and can't seem to ever think ahead for literally any challenge I run at any time. I still don't suspect this challenge to be too difficult. I could see swapping our handgun every chapter causing some issue, but ultimately it's bound to be at least a little bit easier than the first Resident Evil 4 challenge. So, after jumping out this window somehow without even a scratch, as Mitten Squad would say, this is where the real game begins. Luckily enough, we don't need to use up too much of our ammo in these earlier sections of the game. Like, in this big village part, all we gotta do is run around and stay alive for what feels like 10 minutes, but is much more likely probably about 5. Luckily enough though, the church bell rings, and despite losing out on a full heal, we get to run around and collect all the loot in a nice, relaxed... I always forget how early this part is. It even has your first Spinel challenge, your first tripwire to disarm, Bullman guy, and apparently our first death. Awesome. There. I feel like that kick will get our message across.
Bye-bye!
Can you see how fearful I was opening our inventory here? I was expecting to stun them out of their little charge, but I forgot one simple thing. My aim sucks. Anyway, now that that's over, we meet the best character in the series before being infected all in one chapter still. And starting chapter 2 by waking up chained together in a situation I'm certain somebody has definitely written a fanfiction about. Maybe that's a video idea, reading Resident Evil fanfiction. I know a lot of people chastise games for having the quote-unquote required they stole all my gear section, but I've always really appreciated segments like this. It gives a nice break in the playthrough and adds variety to the gameplay. Regardless, we got our stuff back. So I didn't show it, or maybe I did, I don't know. I write these scripts as I play the game. But I did something this time that I think I completely overlooked doing in the first Resident Evil 4 challenge. I grabbed the weapons and stuff we aren't allowed to use to sell them. With that, we upgrade the Silver Ghost a bit because the Blacktail isn't available until next chapter, I think. After Leon gives us a classic quip,
Sorry. Must have slipped.
It's time for another combat section that I really don't remember being this early. So strange how wrong we can remember things, huh? Oh, also, that was our second death. So strange how much being shoved into a corner screws you over, huh? I remembered, unfortunately after wasting almost our entire ammo stash, that you don't need to even fight any of the enemies here, and I'm pretty sure they continue to spawn endlessly. So, yeah. At least we've got about 20 rounds still. Yeah, just keep walking. You idiot. Oh, crap. We've made it to safety, the big house. I tried to see if I could just remember the code here, but obviously I couldn't. So now we gotta go all the way out of our way to read a book that's just upstairs before rubbing our ball around to open a door and get absolutely manhandled for an especially short chapter. On to 3. Man, I really hope I'm right about the Blacktail being available this chapter, because this is kind of just turning into the original run that I did, and it's very boring. Maybe not for you guys, but it's boring for me. After watching the bell tower fall, I was gonna write a joke about it and completely forgot again about these hellhounds. Let's just get at it. Please help me, Uncle Merchant. Oh, thanks, I guess I lied, and the Blacktail is actually not available by this point, and now I'm pissed because I feel like I just released the 20th COD reskin and called it a new game, with how closely this challenge is resembling the original challenge we ran in this game. Sorry for rambling. We made it to the church finally, but it's locked. So after purchasing the laser sight, I love this thing. We get into what I still think is one of the worst combat sections of the whole game. Nowhere near as bad as the giant bridge room in the Salazar castle though. Holy, that thing is a nightmare. Okay, so I may have over-exaggerated a little. This part was awful my first time, okay? Here's our last Viper for one of the Spinel challenges. I don't even know if I'm saying Spinel right. It might be Spinel or something. But speaking of Vipers, did you know all Vipers are venomous? That makes you wonder why, even though Vipers found in more northern regions of the world are less venomous, Leon still has no reaction and isn't hindered by their venom in the slightest when they bite him. Funnily enough though, that's still in line with Dante. Interestingly, rattlesnakes, cottonmouths, and copperheads are actually also species of Viper. Vipers are determined through the shape of their head, their venom, their scales, and the length of their fangs. And those 3 snake families happen to fit the bill. As far as their reproductive nature goes, let's see if I can say this right. Most, but not all vipers are ovoviviparous. I definitely said that wrong. But that means the females do create eggs, however, she incubates them within her body to give birth to live young. That's kind of crazy, right? Seems rather inconvenient, but such is the plight of a mother, I suppose. Finally, the most dangerous of the viper family, in my opinion, is the Gaboon viper, found in sub-Saharan Africa. This scary snake is the largest viper in the world by weight, measuring up to 7 feet long and 22 pounds on average. And with those numbers, keep in mind vipers have stocky builds, so he's a girthy one. In addition to this, they have the longest fangs of any snake researched, sitting at 2 inches long, and incredibly potent and lethal venom. Man, I would really hate to run into one of those guys. Unfortunately, many species of viper are endangered, and they lose more of their natural habitat every day. So if you'd like to keep these guys around, please visit the link to the World Wildlife Fund in the description and donate to animal conservation efforts. I'm sure the snakes would thank you if, like, they could. Anyway, now that all the animal cookies have been eaten, we grab the fuel for the boat and get the hell out of Dodge. Turning in our contracts, meaning it's now time to face the monster from below, Del Lago. Now, as the harpoons are required for this fight, so I don't really need to give a reason why they're allowed, I still will. Dante be throwing his sword in DMC 5, therefore the harpoons are allowed. While we finish this fight up, what's your guys' favorite Dante outfit? Mine is easily his shirtless trenchcoat look from DMC 3. I feel like it fits his character perfectly and hits all the right notes. Although there's certainly nothing wrong with the OG either. Classy, elegant, shows that you mean business. Fun fact, that's the first time I've ever first tried that fight. I don't know why it's kind of difficult for me. Let's sleep on it though, so we can end Chapter 3. Hello Chapter 4, 3 in-game hours later. Say hello to the enemies that this challenge is going to make infinitely more annoying. Normally, you just use a flashbang to insta-kill them, but obviously, Dante don't be doing that, so shooting it is. Yep, guess it's time to take the old boat out. So we do an easy puzzle, finish upgrading Silver Ghost as much as we can right now. Enter a room I do not remember. It's really eerie. I mean, I'm sure I just missed it in previous playthroughs, but still, like, it's eerie coming across a bound woman I don't remember coming across at all ever before. Then we died. It was a bad omen after all. Finally, we just sold this big old bass and solved another simple puzzle before grabbing this other piece and finishing up the area with a giant troll guy fight and the coolest pup on the block. Breaking into the church, sort of, I guess. Pretty colors, and finally finding Ashley. Ending chapter 4. Back the next day, we gotta escape. Don't dilly-dally, Ashley, we gotta go. We were almost late to our second cornering session. What do you know? The blacktail still isn't available. Awesome. Looks like chapter 6 is going to be our first chapter with it. This big area was kinda scary with Ashley getting kidnapped all the time, but ultimately chasing her through this gate ended up being our saving grace. After that, we spent way too long looking for this clockwork Castian, eliminated this hellhound for a bounty. Did I say eliminated? I meant died to. We got him the second time though, thank God for those knife upgrades. Ashley, duck! Do you even listen? Luis lets us into his home because we're vampires and needed a formal invitation. Too bad these villagers aren't and are completely fine with breaking and entering. This part was actually, like, incredibly hard for me, and I really have no idea why. This was absolutely awful. Even on our winning attempt, we just barely made it out. I never have that much trouble with that segment. But we're told by Luis that we're a parasitic freak of nature, and there is a cure. Ending the chapter. Chapter 6, our final chapter in the village. We see... She's so bad. Wow, my favorite gun in the whole game, but still no sign of the blacktail. I'm beginning to think I lied to you guys, and I'm just giving you a redo of the original challenge. And there's another death already. Awesome. Man, this game is getting really frustrating right now. I have no idea why I'm having so much trouble. I never have this much of an issue. I'm so cool. I love this fight. This one is a lot of fun to me. Certainly a lot more fun than the bridge in Salazar Castle. That's just gross. We crank this hog, then have a run to get through, hoping and praying Ashley doesn't get grabbed. Can you guess what happened literally as soon as we started the run? Seeing as I didn't want to spend more time than necessary trying to run this without using any of our ammo, I just decided to use 4 rounds to make it more convenient. And we actually ended off with more rounds than we started because one of the villagers dropped a 10 count of ammo, so it all worked out in the end. Now it's time for the Mendez fight. And I think we're actually starting the fight off with more resources than we had in the original challenge. So before too long, we see his false eye roll out of the socket, and Ashley busts us out of the slaughterhouse, finally escaping to Castle Salazar. It's chapter 7. Do you guys know what that means? It's finally our first chapter with the blacktail. I can finally have some video weapon variety. And the cool thing about having to wait so long to get it is that we can max it out as far as we can right now, right this second. Blacktail is actually my second favorite handgun in the whole game, my first being the Punisher. I'm pretty stoked to be switching weapons now that we finally have the ebony to our ivory. First, however, to get to the real fun, we gotta bust our way into the castle. Resident Evil 4 pro combat tip: if you're seeing an enemy and don't want to waste ammo on it, let them pick up Ashley. Even in group fights, if you let them pick up Ashley, you can insta-kill that enemy in an uninterruptible animation that even gives you iframes. Just make sure you've either got a lot of knives or your knife has high durability, if you're planning on doing this to thin out a group. Boom shakalaka. Bye-bye, gate. Hello, Salazar Hall. Let me just say, the blacktail has certainly been treating us well. I love this little guy. Not this little guy, though. I have a question for the little people in my audience. What do you think of your most iconic gaming representative? I bet it's insulting, isn't it? He's not even as short as he should be. Time for a meeting with our first Garrador. He's easy though, just walk and stab a few times, take a couple of shots, and you're good. It's time for yet another simple puzzle. I swear they get easier and easier every new game that comes out. Bring the hard puzzles back, it supports critical thinking. Man, we really have been doing superbly well with ammo throughout this whole run. We've pretty consistently and easily now been getting up to almost 100 rounds most chapters. It's pretty awesome. You know what isn't awesome though? This section. Literally the worst combat section in the entire game. I hate this part. Why did you do this, Capcom? This sucks. Finally, on to the next third. Oh, you thought that was what I was talking about? Oh, no, it gets much, much worse. Oh, well, that second part wasn't too bad either, actually. I got really close a couple times to doing it without wasting any ammo, but I got frustrated and decided using a few rounds won't hurt. We had over 100. Hopefully those other two parts being easy is a good sign, because this third and final one is easily the worst. I hate this part so much. Wow, it may have taken almost all of our ammo, but we made it through just fine. In fact, that may have been the easiest of those 3 sections this time. Strange. Regardless, Ashley has a brain aneurysm and runs away from us, ending the chapter. Luckily for us, Chapter 8 is a real short one. Not only that, but it's also where we unlock the body armor. Yes, it's allowed. It's my challenge. Like I said though, this is a short one. We meet with Ada for the first time since Resident Evil 2, and let me just say, she is the absolute definition of fine honey in this game. Then we solve another simple puzzle and run across some battlements.
Nope.
Slaughtering another Shrek before finally finding Ashley again, ending the chapter. Back with the Blacktail this chapter, what adventures await us? I'm not super worried about moving forward, because from what I remember, the difficulty of the last challenge after those last 2 chapters started to slowly taper off. After taking out this clockwork Castian that's been driving me crazy since last chapter, we put some dogs down and dropped some flags before finishing our knife upgrades, meaning the moment we reach another 60,000 in our pocket, we can get the exclusive upgrade, bringing our attack speed up. Sweet. Here we are in my favorite segment of the whole game. I love the setting, the puzzles here, the combat. This place is awesome. We head back to the audience chamber so I can grab some more treasure. Then we get to play a really fun section as Ashley. Honestly, all these things I'm saying are fun make me think Chapter 9 is probably my favorite chapter in the whole game. I really can't think about anything I dislike about this chapter. After grabbing the Salazar family crest, we almost get sliced in half as we run into the elevator. However, we squeeze past this knight and finally free Leon, just to watch Ashley get kidnapped again. Chapter 10 start. First off, I can barely hold myself together just to talk about the intro, but here we are. Out of the cage, silver ghost time. Once we've collected all the treasures we had to leave behind as Ashley, finally unlocked our last knife upgrade, oh yeah, and disposed of the knight with a bounty on his head, we meet my least favorite enemies in the whole game. Not because they're particularly difficult to take care of, I just hate bugs. They're scary. Wow, it sure looks like Cinderella won't be dancing here anytime soon. I don't remember there being this many bugs here, holy crap. I'm not expecting this part to be too bad, especially since our armaments are so upgraded by this point, and it looks like my expectations were right, because even though it took a little bit, it was pretty easy. So we just fondle some horns and find Ashley again, being forced to drink the black goopy goop before we're cast into the pits of hell below the castle. While it may not all be fire and brimstone, it's closer to hell than it may seem right now. Mostly because of this guy, the Verdugo, the scariest enemy in the game. I hate him. Luckily though, it wasn't too hard to run around until the elevator was ready. Good thing we got in here before we had our asthmatic attack. Chapter 11 time. Luis treated our parasite to slow its progression, and now we get another bro section. I love these segments. Oh, also, it is a good thing I remembered our weapon rule before we shot anything, because I almost forgot to switch to the Blacktail. I don't know why this dynamite didn't kill us, but this is why I love the fully upgraded combat knife. This is awesome. Boom! There goes the wall, and it's time for us to face a couple of Shreks together. There goes one of them, then the other. This is real footage of what it feels like when the gang all hangs out. You feel unstoppable. Unfortunately, however, good times do have to come to an end. And after taking out these bug nests, Luis is stabbed from behind, and after taking out Krauser, he passes away. Damn you, Krauser. We gotta get Ashley back. She's been away for too long. First though, the Phantom's back, and despite using Silver Ghost this chapter, we fully upgrade the Blacktail to prepare for chapters 13 and 15. I didn't realize at the time, I thought the Krauser fight was in chapter 15, and that's why I did that for the Blacktail, and then, you'll see what happened later. I always hate this lift section. It's always annoying being confined to such a small fighting space. Now it's time for the Ramon fight. Let's see if I can emulate the winning attempt from last time. For those of you who haven't seen the original challenge, we ended up killing Ramon with pretty much only the knife, and it was awesome. And what do you know, on only our third attempt we pulled it off. Sweet. On to Krauser's Island, ending chapter 12. Chapter 13 is here, and we are feeling hot and heavy on this muggy ass island. As we make our way to the fortress oil plant place, I won't lie, the exclusive upgrade on the Blacktail has been pretty disappointing so far. The one on the Silver Ghost is definitely better. This run-up was definitely awesome the first time I played it, but in every subsequent playthrough, this whole chapter just feels like a slog to get through. We finally find Ashley though, and now we just gotta get in there. God, why did I say put the hard puzzles back in game? No, on a real note though, this puzzle is genuinely a lot more fun and engaging than the earlier, easier puzzles. We upgrade our key card, grab the wrench, and get the final upgrade on our key card before freeing Ashley and ending chapter 13. Ashley's awake, let's get moving. We almost have the exclusive upgrade on our Silver Ghost unlocked. Just need another 50,000 in funds, then our whole arsenal will be fully leveled. We're starting to run lower on our ammo now. I knew bragging about our wealth earlier was a bad idea. Sewer time. Oh boy, an Iron Maiden. I don't even remember how we dealt with this guy last challenge. Oh right. Sheer luck. Now that the power switched, we gotta book it back to the bridge, so we can reach the same side as Ashley before she gets grabbed, which turned out easier than I expected on account of shooting these guys as soon as we stepped onto the bridge. Time for the last bad combat section of the game. I don't like this one, but it's not as bad as the previous ones I've criticized. Up the lift we go, where we find the Mega Amber with the first sample of Las Plagas. Then Saddler and his disgustingly mutated head walks in and kidnaps Ashley yet again. Time to rush our way through Krauser's 10, where he has an awfully creepy picture of us from when we were younger. After that though, we finally finish upgrading our little Silver Ghost. And you see, this is where I was saying that I thought the Krauser fight was in chapter 15, but it's actually in one of the Silver Ghost chapters. Although the critical multiplier on the Silver Ghost is probably more useful for the fight. But this means now all our armaments have been fully upgraded. So after a short chase with Krauser around some ruins, it's time to face him again for one final time. I won't lie, that fight was way closer than I thought it would be. Though we did still eliminate Krauser on our first attempt, even if our knife broke. On to chapter 15. We're in the home stretch now. Only 2 missions left, chapters 15 and 16. We are actually allowed to use Krauser's knife because I said all knives are okay, but it's so late in the game by this point that it's not really worth leveling it up to match the performance of Leon's knife. Plus, it's kinda hard to beat that exclusive speed multiplier. Ooh, gotta switch to the Blacktail too. Look who it is, the second best character in the whole game, Mike the Chopper Pilot. I didn't realize the enemies don't respawn infinitely on this part, so as long as you don't pull the levers, it was really relaxing and easy to just search the area with no enemies. Then all we did was pull the levers and rush to the door almost completely uninterrupted. After that, not only has the best ever character already died, but now the second best character has died. And there's bugs all over. Why must they do this to us? Holy! The Blacktail insta-kills bugs no matter where you hit them. Jeez Louise! I messed up and woke this regenerator up. But then, because I'm a total badass, we were able to stab it, including its Iron Maiden transformation, to death, even doing a dope flourish at the end to dispel all the needles. I tried briefly to just run through this whole section, but got overrun, so instead we took the more methodical, intended approach, and finally made it into Saddler's Chapel. He ogles us a bit, but in the end Ada saves us, and we escape with Ashley and hallucinate our way to the cure machine, ending the chapter. Chapter 16, Ashley was able to get us cured. All we have left is the fight with Saddler. Oh, we almost lost the challenge right now. I almost forgot to switch to Silver Ghost. Did you remember this is a challenge where we play as Dante? After some running around, we find the merchant for the last time, where he gives us some words of wisdom.
You might want to take care of any leftover errands before going this way. Be ashamed to live the rest of your life wondering, what if, am I right?
We will not heed those. Hey Saddler, let's dance. And just like that, it's time for us to ride our jet ski with Ashley by our side off into the sunset. Meaning, we have successfully beaten Resident Evil 4 as lore-accurate Dante. Well, as lore-accurate to him as you can get in a Resident Evil game. This challenge felt pretty similar to the original I ran. It wasn't bad, just kind of boring to me, I guess. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it though, and make sure you go check out Kyro's video, playing Devil May Cry as Leon. He made up the challenge himself, so I'm excited to see the rules he decided on. Sorry if the second half of the video felt kind of rushed. I learned halfway through recording that I have to make a trip somewhere out of town in a couple days, so I had to get this recording done. Like, I played and edited 8 hours of gameplay within 24 hours. Make sure you visit the World Wildlife Fund if you're feeling generous and donate to animal preservation. Otherwise, that's all I have for you guys today. So, as always, have a fantastic day.